From the first moment Kevin Costner walked onto the set of The Bodyguard, something shifted, not in the script, not in the camera angles, but in the air between him and Whitney Houston. Hollywood could sense it instantly. He was 47, a man who carried authority in every step, every glance. She was 23, luminous, untouchable, her voice capable of breaking hearts and commanding rooms. Together they created a tension no one could ignore, a connection that felt charged with possibilities the cameras could only hint at. On set, their interactions were electric yet disciplined. Every scene demanded intimacy, every take required trust, and the world watched, eager to interpret a glance or a brush of the hand. Rumors ignited in gossip columns almost immediately. Fans wanted love, tabloids demanded scandal, and the truth remained tantalizingly just out of reach. And yet, decades passed before Costner spoke openly, revealing a story that had nothing to do with Hollywood romance and everything to do with admiration, vulnerability, and the quiet bond formed under pressure. It was a connection rooted in respect and fascination, a delicate interplay of human emotion that had survived fame, rumors, and the weight of legend. When Kevin Costner arrived on the set of The Bodyguard in 1992, the atmosphere was already thick with expectation. The film promised to be a blockbuster, pairing a screen legend with a music superstar whose voice had already defined a generation. Costner, measured and deliberate, carried the quiet confidence of a man who had commanded audiences in Dances with Wolves and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Whitney Houston, radiant and unflinching, stepped into the same frame, her presence filling the studio with an energy that seemed impossible to contain. From the very first table read, there was an unspoken awareness between them, a recognition that what they were about to create could not be captured by script alone. Costner's professionalism was precise. He approached every scene with discipline, knowing the emotional weight required to convey protection, vulnerability, and tension simultaneously. Houston matched him not with mimicry, but with her own brilliance, layering subtle nuance over lines that could have been mechanical in less capable hands. Observers later recalled how the two would rehearse silently, communicating through glances, gestures, and timing, each aware of the other's strengths and limitations. Their synergy was undeniable, yet it carried a complexity that went far beyond the scripted romance. It was charged with admiration, with challenge, and with a cautious respect born of mutual understanding. Even the crew noticed it. Cinematographers spoke of moments when the camera captured something almost intangible, a pause too long, a glance that lingered, a rhythm between them that no direction could manufacture. In interviews, producers described a tension that was not disruptive but electric, a creative spark that elevated every take. Some attempted to interpret it as flirtation, others sensed something quieter, a profound respect entwined with fascination. The public, seeing only the polished final product, would never fully know the subtle currents that defined the collaboration. Factual milestones during production highlight the stakes they navigated together. The film demanded physically taxing sequences, long night shoots, and emotionally charged performances. Costner carried not just the role of bodyguard on screen, but the weight of balancing Houston's star power with his own, ensuring neither performance eclipsed the other. Houston, for her part, navigated the pressure of translating her musical charisma into cinematic vulnerability. In every scene where intimacy, tension, or danger was required, the audience witnessed not just acting but a carefully constructed trust forged behind the cameras. Beyond the artistry, there were personal complexities. Costner and Houston came from very different worlds. One seasoned in Hollywood film sets, the other a superstar in music arenas. Their lives outside production diverged sharply, yet on set, they discovered common ground in the dedication required to honor their craft. They were conscious of every look, every movement, understanding that the connection audiences sensed on screen was the product of careful negotiation, skill, and deep empathy. By the end of filming, the chemistry between Costner and Houston had become part of cinematic history, immortalized in scenes that continue to captivate viewers decades later. The spark seen by millions was not merely romantic, nor was it fully understood in real time. It was the fruit of discipline, admiration, and the fragile, exhilarating tension that only two artists willing to surrender to both their craft and each other could create. And it is this very tension, this quiet human connection, that would remain with Costner long after the cameras stopped rolling, setting the stage for revelations decades later that would surprise the world. Behind the glamour and spotlights of The Bodyguard, Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston navigated a world that demanded perfection at every take. The public saw only the seamless chemistry on screen, the sweeping romance that carried the film. But behind closed doors, their relationship existed in subtler forms, in gestures, glances, and moments of shared concentration that required neither words nor explanation. Every rehearsal, every retake, was a negotiation between instincts and artistry, a quiet conversation where trust became the foundation of every scene. Costner, accustomed to carrying the weight of a film's emotional core, found in Houston a collaborator whose intelligence and awareness matched his own. She approached every scene with a precision honed by a career in music, understanding rhythm, tone, and nuance in ways few actors could translate to film. On set, they became partners in a silent dialogue, each anticipating the other's movements, responding instinctively to shifts in mood or timing. The energy between them was electric yet restrained, shaped not by romance, but by mutual respect and admiration for the craft itself. Crew members recalled moments when the tension in the air was almost palpable, not as conflict, but as intensity. Costner and Houston did not need to speak to understand one another. Their shared focus carried an invisible current that informed every take. Observers described it as rare, even unprecedented, a professional bond that elevated the work while maintaining a quiet personal distance. While tabloids attempted to label it as flirtation or affair, those closest to the production recognized it for what it truly was: a partnership forged through discipline, empathy, and the shared responsibility of telling a story authentically. The challenges of the shoot added gravity to their collaboration. Night shoots, complex choreography, and emotionally charged scenes demanded a level of vulnerability that few could sustain. Costner's grounded presence balanced Houston's natural brilliance, creating a safe space where she could explore moments of fear, intimacy, and defiance on camera. Their connection was measured, purposeful, and invisible to the audience, yet it permeated every frame, transforming performances into experiences that felt profoundly real. The Bodyguard became one of the highest-grossing films of 1992, with Houston's soundtrack breaking records worldwide. Costner's on-screen protection of her character mirrored an off-screen attentiveness, ensuring every scene conveyed sincerity without overshadowing her talent. Their collaboration was a masterclass in equilibrium, balancing star power, emotional intensity, and cinematic storytelling in a way that few productions achieve. Even as the cameras captured every line and expression, the deeper bond existed in moments unseen, a nod of reassurance before a challenging scene, a shared smile when a difficult take succeeded, the unspoken acknowledgement of each other's dedication. This hidden connection endured beyond the film, a testament to the quiet power of collaboration, trust, and mutual understanding. It was a partnership that transcended fame and scrutiny, leaving behind a record not just of a blockbuster, but of two artists attuned to one another in ways the world would only begin to appreciate decades later. As The Bodyguard soared to box office success, the reality of fame began to press upon both Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston in ways the cameras could never capture. Public fascination, tabloid speculation, and relentless media attention created a world where every glance, every smile, and every interaction could be interpreted, misread, or magnified. For two artists whose connection had always been grounded in respect and trust, the scrutiny was a challenge, not to their craft, but to the quiet balance they had found in one another. Costner, accustomed to navigating the expectations of Hollywood, understood the weight of public perception. Every headline and rumor threatened to reduce their professional bond to mere gossip, obscuring the subtlety of collaboration with speculation. Houston, with the poise of a performer who had dominated stages worldwide, faced the same pressures, the relentless demand to appear effortless, to radiate perfection, while carrying the weight of a global audience's attention. Together they maintained a rhythm that allowed the work to shine without being eclipsed by the noise surrounding them. Behind the scenes, their respect for one another deepened as the stakes rose. Long days, night shoots, and emotionally taxing scenes demanded focus, patience, and a silent understanding that neither performance could falter. Costner's steady presence anchored Houston, providing a counterbalance to her natural intensity. In turn, her commitment and artistry challenged him to reach subtler emotional heights, pushing him to reveal layers of vulnerability that audiences would never see. Their collaboration was no longer just about the film. It became a study in trust, a nuanced conversation conveyed through action, gaze, and timing. Bodyguard grossed over $400 million worldwide, propelled by Houston's chart-topping soundtrack and the undeniable chemistry with Costner. The film's production required intricate coordination, from intimate romantic scenes to high-stakes action sequences. Every shared scene was carefully orchestrated, not just for visual impact, but to communicate a depth of emotion and trust that neither actor could afford to misstep. Industry insiders often remarked that the connection they witnessed was rare, a combination of professionalism, instinct, and the unspoken acknowledgement of one another's talent. As fame amplified the story, their private bond remained delicate and invisible. The world saw romance in their on-screen moments, yet the truth was more complex. Admiration, fascination, and a shared dedication to the craft sustained a connection far beyond public understanding. Each scene became a testament to what could emerge when two artists aligned in vision and discipline. In that alignment, they discovered a partnership defined not by rumor, but by the quiet intensity of working alongside someone who challenged and inspired in equal measure. Even decades later, Costner's reflections would reveal the depth of that hidden bond, a mix of admiration, respect, and subtle affection that had survived the glare of fame, the swirling speculation, and the unyielding demands of cinematic storytelling. It was a connection forged in artistry, tested by attention, and ultimately preserved by the human instinct to honor one another's brilliance, even when the world assumed something entirely different. Decades after The Bodyguard first captivated audiences, Kevin Costner found himself looking back with a clarity that only time can provide. At 69, the veil of speculation and rumor had faded, leaving room for reflection. The fame, the tabloids, the endless scrutiny of every glance and gesture, those pressures that once felt so consuming, now seemed distant echoes. What remained, he realized, was the human connection he had shared with Whitney Houston, a bond defined by artistry, trust, and a quiet admiration that had never needed public acknowledgement to exist. Costner's reflections revealed that the story the world assumed of romance, infatuation, or scandal had obscured a more profound truth. His fascination with Houston was rooted not in fleeting desire, but in respect for her talent, dedication, and presence. On set, she had challenged him, inspired him, and demanded of him an emotional authenticity he could not have achieved alone. That shared pursuit of perfection, the willingness to trust and respond to each other's instincts, had formed the deepest bond of their collaboration. Over the years, he carried that awareness privately, a silent testament to what could exist between two artists who understood one another completely. Houston's brilliance, both on and off the screen, had created a space where Costner could explore vulnerability without fear. Their connection had not been easy. The demands of production, the weight of fame, and the expectations of millions could have fractured lesser partnerships. Yet each challenge, each difficult day on set, had strengthened the trust between them. He remembered the long nights, the precise choreography of intimate scenes, and the shared concentration required to make every take believable. Those hours, though unseen by the audience, had cemented a professional intimacy that bordered on the spiritual, a mutual understanding that neither accolades nor rumors could diminish. The Bodyguard earned over $400 million worldwide, its soundtrack breaking records and defining a generation. Costner and Huston each carried immense responsibility, one ensuring the cinematic portrayal of protection and tension, the other translating vocal and emotional artistry to the screen. Behind the scenes, their interactions were precise, careful, and deeply attuned. A subtle nod, a shift in stance, a shared pause could communicate as much as dialogue. These were the moments that shaped their performances, the moments that would linger in Costner's memory long after the cameras stopped rolling. By finally speaking about this bond, Costner illuminated the human side of Hollywood legend. He did not seek to rewrite history or indulge curiosity. He revealed a truth that had always existed quietly, that admiration, trust, and profound respect could be mistaken for romance, yet survive scrutiny, distance, and time itself. The connection with Huston was a living proof that artistry can produce relationships of extraordinary depth, unbound by public expectation, and preserved in the hearts of those who truly shared it. Even now, decades after The Bodyguard first lit up theaters worldwide, the impact of Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston's collaboration continues to resonate. The film, which became one of 1992's most iconic releases, earned over $400 million globally and cemented Huston's status as a musical and cinematic powerhouse. Costner's steady presence and on-screen authority balanced her brilliance, creating moments that audiences still recall with awe. But behind the box office numbers and record-breaking soundtrack, there existed a quieter legacy, a human story of trust, respect, and admiration that had outlasted fame, speculation, and time. Costner's reflections at 69 reveal the depth of that enduring bond. He spoke of it not as romance, not as scandal, but as a profound acknowledgement of what two artists can achieve when they understand and inspire one another. Every scene they shared was layered with intention, every performance a delicate interplay of vulnerability and discipline. The public witnessed on-screen intimacy, but the private reality was subtler, richer, a connection forged in shared effort, mutual support, and the pressure-cooked intensity of creating a cultural touchstone. Huston's soundtrack, anchored by the timeless hit I Will Always Love You, became one of the best-selling albums in history, while the film itself earned critical acclaim for its tension and emotional authenticity. Costner and Huston navigated the challenges of translating vocal artistry into cinematic storytelling, enduring long shoots, physical demands, and high expectations. Each success, each scene that captured hearts worldwide, was also a testament to the care, focus, and trust between the two performers, an invisible thread that shaped the film's magic. Beyond the statistics, the emotional resonance remains. Fans continue to watch The Bodyguard not merely for its romance or music, but for the authenticity of the performances, the subtle chemistry, and the unspoken understanding that animated each interaction. Costner's reflections reveal that what many mistook for romance was, in fact, a rarer, quieter bond, one of human respect, professional devotion, and a shared pursuit of excellence. It is this invisible legacy, more enduring than headlines or gossip, that defines their story today. Ultimately, the tale of Costner and Huston offers a lesson in the power of connection beyond the public gaze. Fame may fade, rumors may swirl, and decades may pass, yet the imprint of mutual respect, shared artistry, and authentic admiration remains. Their work continues to inspire actors, musicians, and audiences alike, proving that the deepest bonds often exist in silence, in discipline, and in moments unseen by the world. Kevin Costner's eventual reflections at 69 illuminate not only his relationship with Huston, but also a timeless truth about collaboration, artistry, and the enduring human capacity for quiet, profound connection. For more emotional stories, check out this video.